I still remember the exact sound the door made when my father slammed it behind me. It wasn't just wood hitting wood. It was my entire childhood being locked away forever. Rain hammered down like it wanted to drown me right there on the front step. My suitcase lay open on the wet concrete. Clothes floating in little puddles. My phone screen already cracked from the throw. Disobeying? I whispered into the storm. I was 18. All I had done was say no to the man my stepmother picked for me, some rich guy's son who would secure the family business. I wanted to finish high school. I wanted to breathe. Dad looked at me like I was a stranger and said the words that still echo in my bones. If you won't listen, you don't belong here anymore. The rain soaked through my hoodie in minutes. I stood there, shaking, teeth chattering, staring at the house I grew up in, until the porch light clicked off. That was it. No goodbye. No second chance. Just cold, wet darkness, and the weight of 3 years of stepmother's poison finally winning. For 3 days I became invisible. I slept on a park bench the first night, curled into the smallest ball I could, rain tapping on the metal like impatient fingers. Hunger gnawed so deep I cried without sound. The second night, a kind stranger let me crash in her laundromat until closing. The smell of detergent and the warm dryers felt like heaven for 4 hours. The third night I walked until my shoes bled, whispering to myself, "Just 1 more hour, Emma. Someone will help." No one did. I was sitting in the public library, pretending to read so the librarian wouldn't kick me out, when the ad popped up on the old computer screen. Tax, foreclosed Victorian. Needs work. $5. $5. I laughed, a broken, hopeless sound. The house was 2 hours outside the city. On the edge of a sleepy town, nobody visited anymore. The listing said, "Haunted by rumors." I had exactly $7.32 in my pocket birthday money I'd hidden from Dad for 2 years. I wired the $5 before I could talk myself out of it. The real estate agent sounded surprised anyone actually wanted it. 2 buses and a long walk later, I stood in front of my new home. It rose out of the weeds like a forgotten skeleton peeling white paint. Broken shutters hanging like broken wings. Ivy crawling up the walls as if trying to pull the whole thing into the earth. The porch creaked under my wet sneakers. Inside smelled of dust, old wood, and something sweet I couldn't name. That first night I slept on the floor with my jacket as a blanket. The rain had followed me. It drummed on the tin roof like it was trying to tell me something. Then, around 3 in the morning, I heard it. Emma, a woman's voice. Soft. Familiar. The same gentle tone that used to read me bedtime stories when I was little. My dead grandmother's voice. I sat up so fast my head spun, heart slamming against my ribs. "Hello?" My voice cracked. Silence. I told myself it was the wind, or hunger, or my mind finally breaking after 3 days on the street. I lay back down, trembling, but it came again the next night. And the next. "Emma, come upstairs." During the day, I worked like a machine. I nailed boards over broken windows, swept decades of dirt, scrubbed the kitchen until my hands bled. Every creak of the old floorboards made me freeze. I found her things everywhere, a faded apron still hanging on a hook, a teacup with her lipstick mark that somehow never washed away, a photo of us on my 7th birthday tucked behind the hallway mirror. In it, she was smiling like she knew a secret. On the 6th night, the voice was clearer. It came from the 2nd floor, right above my head. I grabbed the flashlight I'd bought with my last $2 and climbed the stairs. My legs shook so badly I almost fell. "Emma, the truth is in the walls." I pressed my ear to the wallpaper in the upstairs hallway. It felt warm. I clawed at the corner until the paper tore away in long strips. Behind it was a narrow wooden door, no taller than a child, painted the same color as the wall so you'd never see it. My hands were raw, but I pried it open anyway. A small room, just big enough for a cot, a tiny stove, and a shelf of canned food. And there, sitting on the edge of the cot with silver hair falling around her shoulders and eyes exactly like mine, was my grandmother. Alive. I dropped the flashlight. The beam rolled across the floor and stopped at her bare feet. "Grandma?" My voice was barely a whisper. She smiled the same tired, loving smile I remembered from the hospital bed 4 years ago, when the doctors said she'd passed in her sleep. I had to disappear, sweetheart, she said quietly. Your father. He changed after your mother died. The money, the house, the business, he wanted it all. He forged papers. He told everyone I was gone so he could claim my estate, but I knew what he would do to you when you turned 18. So I faked the rest. I came back here, my childhood home, and I waited. I left the voice recordings in the old intercom system so you would hear me if you ever came. I prayed you would disobey him one day. Tears burned down my face. I crawled across the dusty floor and collapsed into her arms. She smelled like lavender and safety. She held me while I sobbed out every cold, hungry, terrifying moment of the last 3 days. She told me the rest in a voice soft as rain. The will she'd hidden in the wall. The trust fund that became mine the moment I turned 18, money my father could never touch. The house itself was never supposed to be sold. The $5 auction was his desperate attempt to bury the evidence before I could claim it. All those nights I thought I was losing my mind. She had been calling me home. We fixed the house together. Slowly, one room at a time. I learned how to patch roofs and cook with almost nothing. She taught me how to forgive without forgetting. I never went back to my father's house. I sent him one letter, the will, the proof, the truth. He never answered. Some nights I still wake up hearing her voice in my dreams. But now it's different. It's not a ghost anymore. It's just Grandma, humming in the kitchen while coffee brews. I was 18 when the world threw me away. I was 18 when I found the only real home I've ever known, not in 4 walls, but in the arms of the woman who loved me enough to die, so I could live. And every single day, no matter how hard the wind howls outside, I know one thing for certain. Sometimes the scariest voices in the dark are the ones that save you. We fixed the house together. Slowly, one room at a time. I learned how to patch roofs and cook with almost nothing. She taught me how to forgive without forgetting. I never went back to my father's house. I sent him one letter, the will, the proof, the truth. He never answered. Some nights I still wake up hearing her voice in my dreams. But now it's different. It's not a ghost anymore. It's just Grandma, humming in the kitchen while coffee brews. We fixed the house together. Slowly, one room at a time. I learned how to patch roofs and cook with almost nothing. She taught me how to forgive without forgetting. I never went back to my father's house. I sent him one letter, the will, the proof, the truth. He never answered. Some nights I still wake up hearing her voice in my dreams. But now it's different. It's not a ghost anymore. It's just Grandma, humming in the kitchen while coffee brews.